He is Hazrat Luqman. And now I must introduce you to the person who he was. There are two opinions about Hazrat Luqman. One opinion which is more held by the historians. Muhammad ibn Ishaq, he also has this opinion. Then Maulana Sayyid Sulaiman Nadwi, he also holds this opinion. Maulana Hindur Rahman Chauharvi, he also holds this opinion. According to this opinion, in the ancient Arab nations, which they call Arabul Baida, Al-Arabul Baida, the nations which lived sometimes in Arabia, now they have been finished. No traces have been left. The nation of Ad and Samud. Hazrat Hud alayhi salam was sent towards Ad. Hazrat Salih alayhi salam was sent towards Samud. So they are called Baida. The nations which have now disappeared, no remnant now remain of these nations. In the Arab of Baida, there was a Luqman ibn Ad who was king after Shaddad, the famous king, Shaddad. After him there was a king, and he was Luqman, and he was a very wise person. This is one opinion. Second opinion is that when there was, punishment which came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the whole nation of Ad, and it was destroyed, and only few people who believed in Hazrat Hud alayhi salatu wassalam, they were saved, and then they migrated to the northwestern area of Arabian Peninsula, and then they came up with a new nation, new culture, new civilization of Samud. So there was a king in that Samud, and he had the name of Luqman. These are two opinions which are held by some historians. But the other opinion with which I agree, and supporting which there are ahadith, there are aqwal, there are the sayings of Abu Huraira radiyallahu ta'ala, Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, Jabir ibn Abdullah Ansari radiyallahu ta'ala. Then, so many of the Tabi'een, Sa'id ibn Musayyab, Mujahid, Ikrama, they hold this opinion. And this is actually the opinion that I agree. And according to this opinion, he was an Abyssinian, a Habashi, Hazrat Luqman. And he belonged to an area or a tribe which was called Nubia. And this was somewhere in between, Egypt of today and Sudan of today and Abyssinia. Just as you have Kurdistan between Iraq and Iran and Turkey, in the same way there was the region of Nubia between these three countries. He belonged to this region. He was black by his skin, very thick, lips, an ugly person to look, a carpenter by profession, but a very wise person. Now this is in the gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gives something to someone he likes. So he was a very wise person. And his sayings were quoted as quotable quotes by the poets and the orators of Arabia. Just as we in Pakistan and India, we quote Allama Iqbal as an authority. Allama Iqbal had said so. In the same way, his sayings were quoted in the poetry. For example, Imrul Qais, the king of the poets of Arabia, he quotes him. Hazrat Labid, radiyallahu anhu, he was the last of the celebrated poets of that, 7 poets celebrated of Sab'a Mu'allaqa, and he embraced Islam, Hazrat Labid. He also quoted him, Hazrat Luqman, in his poetry. And Asha and Tarafa, they are famous poets of the days of Jahiliyyah. They used to quote Hazrat Luqman in their ash'ar, in their poetry. And in the same way, the big orators of Arabia, they used to quote him. Now, there is near consensus that he was not a Nabi, nor he was the follower of a Nabi. And that is the most important point. Although there is a very shaz very, strange opinion, single opinion, and it is, from Hazrat Ikrama that he was Nabi. But he is alone in this opinion. Mostly people agree that he was not a Nabi, nor he was the follower of a Nabi. And I believe in it firmly, and I will prove it, because there is the internal evidence in this very passage that he was not a Nabi. But about that also I will talk later on. Now, here lies the point. A person who is not Nabi himself, nor he is the follower of a Nabi, he can reach by dint of his own reasoning, his own thinking, and under the guidance of his own human nature, he can reach the basic teachings of our deen, of Islam. That is the point which is most important about this third lesson of this selected course of study. That actually whatever Quran is calling us to believe and whatever our deen, is teaching us is something absolutely in conformity with our nature. Our own nature, our own logic, our own understanding, our own reasoning, testifies to these things which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us in His book and in His Sharia and His deen. And actually this is a big example that a person who was neither a Nabi nor the follower of a Nabi, and he could and he did reach the same conclusions after thinking independently while he was taking the guidance of his nature. And there is an incident that 3 years before Hijrah, a person came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Medina. His name was Suhaid ibn Samit. And he said that I have with me some very good teachings. He had the Sahifa of Luqman with him. And he said, I have something, I want to read it to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said, okay, I'm ready to listen. He read out that Sahifa of Luqman to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, yes, it's very good, but I have something else. Let me present it to you. And then the Prophet read out ayat of Quran to Suhaid ibn Samit. And he said, surely this is a higher level kalam. This is definitely much better than the Sahifa of Luqman. Then he returned. But very soon he died in a battle. It is not proved whether he embraced Islam or not. So now this is Hazrat Luqman.